Give me that. I'll take care of that.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're live. What's up, folks at home? Welcome to another episode of 10 Horse Money YouTube channel and Monday Night Live. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Me and my man over here got to get out in the water for a little bit, and it was tough. It was really tough for us.
It's not the 1v1 that y'all are looking for.
No, we're going to drop a little video, but there was a highlight. We about got our heads taken off by a giant Asian carp. Jumped in the boat. I lost my rod. It was quite the event. So we'll have a nice little video. It's not so much about fish catching. It's more about an adventure that we went on and that kind of thing. So before we get going, I got Randy in the queue back there. I'll bring him in just a second. I just want to give a shout out to the people that have supported me, on this journey. Cumberland Pro Lures. The new pig jig is an excellent jig if you're looking to try something different. It's been working really good the last couple months. It wasn't working yesterday, but nothing was working yesterday. But I've had a couple really good trips on that, and they've got a new jig called the Bama Swim Jig. If you guys like swim jigs, you want to try a different swim jig, it's an excellent swim jig. It's kind of made for that Bama style, the Bama shake, the Alabama shake, which is a different technique. It's just kind of you're shaking your rod while you're reeling that swim jig in. You can turn that down.
Where's the volume at?
It's up there.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. But that's a great jig. It's got a little rattle built into it. It's kind of unique. Got a bunch of really cool colors. Also, Hawgz Custom Baits, custom poured baits out of Festus, Missouri. It's a local company. If you're looking for something different, they make jigs, bladed jigs, bunch of different styles of plastic baits, high float material. So good local products. And Winning Edge Fishing. Shout out to Rob for doing the ads. He's helped out a lot ever since he's come on board. It's helped the show grow. So if you guys are out there and you're looking to promote your company in the sports industry, outdoor industry, Winning Edge Fishing can definitely help you out. So that's all I got to say on that.
How about a little shout out to all those folks that stick with us every week?
Yeah. Shout out to the folks at home, man. You guys make it work.
Still amazing to us that.
Hey, you come on here.
People that want to sit there and listen to us and watch us
on a Monday night in the summertime. We realize that there's all kinds of things to do in the summertime. You got sunlight till 8 o'clock, and you can be out there mowing the yard, doing all that kind of stuff. But you take time out of your day and jump on here and spend a few hours with us in the evening. So we really, really appreciate that. Couldn't do it without you. So without further ado, let's pull in Randy. We got Randy there in the background, and we're gonna dive into some boat tips and fishing, and we're just gonna let the conversation go wherever it is. So I'll go ahead and pull Randy in here. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Thanks for asking me on. So down here in Alabama right now.
Oh yeah, what's going on in Alabama?
We actually BoatWrX, we've been very successful, and Drew Sanford actually went to school down here and lived, him and his wife down here for 3 or 4 years, and there's a local dealership, L&L Marine, and we actually just purchased it 2 weeks ago. So there's actually 3 BoatWrX now: Lake of the Ozarks, Springfield, Missouri, and North Point, Alabama, which is just a suburb of Tuscaloosa. So very happy and proud for that.
So what lake is that boat dealership going to be closest to?
Tuscaloosa. It's about 18 minutes away.
Okay.
It's a big fast lake, and then you got the Black River. And right now the fishing down here is tough. I mean, I went out yesterday afternoon for a little bit, and the surface temp was 92.
Dang, yeah.
So
we're not that hot around here, but man, it's
still summertime.
It's summertime, and it's still tough. So,
but you just quiver and shake. I mean, I'm used to fishing so many of the Ozark lakes and stuff, and Tuscaloosa is actually a clear lake. I mean, a lot of spotted bass in it, what I'm hearing, and then you drive 45 minutes away, you come onto the part of the Black River there, and it's absolutely covered in lily pads and a flipper's dream on it. There's a lot of versatility down here when it comes to fishing. So
the Black River, is that actually a river, or is that an impoundment?
It's actually a river chain that goes up, and then it's just blocked off with different locks and stuff on it. There's a city and goes on, but and it's got Jacob then went Saturday, and they had just a couple spots, but one was a little over close to 3.5, the other one was 3. But I bet the fish was maybe 15 inches long. I mean,
holy cow!
Back. I mean, just crazy, stupid.
So that sounds like they're a little fatter than Table Rock spots even.
A bit better, just a little bit bigger and badder, I think.
Holy cow. Yeah, I love those spots, man. We don't get a chance to catch them around here. We live in Cape Girardeau, Missouri area, and we got a few smallmouth within about an hour drive here, but it's mostly largemouth around here. Definitely no spots.
We used to have.
Well, there's some in the creeks, maybe some smaller spots.
Yeah, I would say the creeks that we can wade. There's a handful of spots. There's a decent population of smallmouth. Now on the channel, which connects to the Mississippi River, before the Asians really took it over, we had a decent population of spots.
Asian carp.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've really got infiltrated everything. The lake we were fishing yesterday, we were fishing some strip pits, and there's a Kaskaskia River that comes out of the Mississippi River. And I think about 5 or 6 years ago, it got high and it flooded that strip pit, and the Asian carp got in there. And I didn't know that until the first time I fished. I've only fished it twice, I think, but the first time I was there, I was talking to the conservation agent, and he was telling me about the whole story about how the Asian carp got in that lake. And I hadn't really seen any until yesterday, and we were nervous, man. They didn't
come out until you started. You said something though yesterday. We fished like for 2 hours, and you never said anything. All of a sudden, he's like, there's Asian carp in here, and it wasn't 5 minutes. Just
yeah. And you're just nervous. You can't really relax. You're idling. It's kind of idle. We're kind of in this backwater area, and I'm kind of idling around because I don't know the area that well. And about every 5 minutes, one would just kind of jump up out of nowhere.
Well, you'd see them on side scan too. You roll over a pot of them. It's like, oh, we're in the danger zone right now, and all of a sudden,
yeah, they're
awful,
crazy,
awful.
Man. You don't have any of those down there in the Ozarks, do you?
No, we do not have. I mean,
thank God.
It was the first time I seen him. We was down there actually fishing the USA Basin Regional. Me and Ashley Ruggles, and Rick Fishback was there, and Denny Carver. And had a bad day, just tournament day. And we actually went below the dam at Kentucky Lake, and they talked us into grabbing them and just taking a snagging pole down there like you would for spoonbill. And it was absolutely every cast, and that had to be the hardest fighting fish I've ever had on in my life.
Really?
And there's millions, and that's what I mean. I'd hate to guess. I mean, you wouldn't make a cast with a snagging rod 25 feet out. Just throw it out 25 foot, let it sink down. And it's probably 60 foot deep right along the edge, and then yank it up 3 or 4 times. And on that 3rd or 4th yank, you would actually nail one. And they averaged anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds. And I mean, and if you lost one fighting it, you just drop the hook back down the water and jerk up again and hook another one. And that's what
crazy.
Like. And then the conservation department actually just wanted you, if you did hook one, just to punch its air bladder and release it back in and kill it. That's what they wanted done.
Right.
But
yeah,
we put in a boat there and turned on the graph, and I literally think you could have probably got out and walked across that section of the lake through there. It was crazy. Ridiculous.
That was right below Kentucky Lake?
Right below Kentucky Dam. I mean, it was absolutely stupid, the amount of them in there.
Yeah, that's just sad. It's ruined a lot of great fisheries.
Yes.
Kentucky Lake's slowly starting to come back, but it's still not what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
I probably fished it 40 or 50 times in my life, and it used to be one of my favorite lakes, and then the last 3 or 4 times it's just been that. It's horrible.
When's the last time you've been there?
That would have been in 2016.
Well,
okay.
Coming on then, and then they really come on. I guess no, it'd been 18.
Yeah, 18 was tough. That's when it started getting really tough.
It's because 17, they was just, you could still catch a few, but it was going downhill. And then we went back in 2018 and went there twice, and it was just too. And in the springtime when there's water up, you ought to be able to catch them. We couldn't even do it that, and not just me, but several other people too. Was struggling.
Yeah, it's starting to come back. You're starting to catch more just 15 and a half inch keepers now. And a lot of I think that there was a 2 or 3 years worth of class of fishing or fish that basically there was a couple spawns that didn't happen, and there was just this void. And then you throw the lack of grass, the lack of shad, and the Asian carp on top of it. It's kind of a perfect, unperfect storm, I guess you would say. And it just really crushed that lake along with the tournament fishing, all the pressure from the tournaments, transferring the fish all around the lake and stuff. It's hard on the fish. And It finally just caught up to them.
Well, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did. We
It
touched on
was-
it last time.
It was the tournament pressure. I mean, it was one of the best lakes in the country, and I mean, you have a great lake that it's going to get all that pressure, and it's not going to be pretty on a lake. So,
Yeah, got a bid kid. He said nothing like watching you guys while I'm out on the water live. That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
Yes.
Brock says he misses your random evening calls.
Yes, Mr. Brock. He's with the marketing crew.
Nothing like a random evening call.
No, exactly. And we call him Brooke a lot, but he knows why.
Tom said he just put the final touches on his portable depth finder. It's done. Cool. I guess that's for what's that for? Kayak fishing, Tom, or are you getting ready for ice fishing season coming up here in about 8 months? I'd like some. I'd go ice fishing right now, just to get off this heat.
I don't know. I'll take the heat.
Yeah, we talked about that too. So, you're a Springfield native, is that right? Are you born and raised in Springfield area?
I was actually born in Ozark, and then we ended up, I guess I was around 7 years old and moved to Springfield and been there the rest of my since then. So.
Okay. So I guess Table Rock, would you consider that your home lake?
No, actually, Table Rock's one of my least favorite lakes.
Really?
Yeah, and I like the lake, but that's the most inconsistent lake I've had my worst tournaments on that lake. I've had some of the best practices I've ever had and some of the worst tournaments on that lake. Actually, Truman used to be my favorite. Bull Shoals is really my favorite lake. It's just, that lake is just phenomenal. Right now I know it's high, but we closed down the last week of December, and I went to Bull Shoals, and I caught probably close to 100 bass that day on a wart and a spinnerbait, and would have had 16, 17 pounds, but I don't know how many 2.5 to 3 pound fish I caught. Me and Randy Terrell, that owns the Big Bass Bash, we went back that Tuesday and Wednesday, and it was not prime conditions to be doing that. Slick water and everything else, and we still probably caught 40 or 50 bass a day in that 3 pound range.
Wow.
Phenomenal lake. That's my favorite lake anymore in Bull Shoals.
So what time of the year was that?
December.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on it once, and I fished with Del Coven for 2 days down there, and it's a cool lake. I liked how desolate it is, how there's hardly any development on it. You feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere by yourself.
And we used to go down there for Labor Day, my wife and daughter, on Labor Day and Memorial Day, and you was lucky if you seen 25 boats in a day, and that was on a major holiday weekend. The only problem is down there is nothing else to do down there but fish. I mean, because there ain't nothing else down there.
Yeah.
Lead Hill, and we got a motel there at Diamond City. And the Diamond City, I think the population is like 1,500. And when we got there, the guy that was renting the motel from, I actually kind of knew through fishing. And we took off, and last minute deal decided to go down there. And I forgot to bring the food, which that was my fault. So I just look at him and I go, hey, I said, where's the closest grocery store? And he looked at me and laughed. And he said, Randy, you're in Diamond City, don't you? And I go, yeah. And he said, 36 miles that way or 42 miles that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we were talking to Gail Julian. It's been a month and a half or so ago, but he was on here, and I remember putting in at the Bull Shoals boat ramp and going right across to, I think it's called Little Sisters Creek or Little Sisters River.
Yes.
And by water, it took like 5 minutes, but by land, he was saying it would take like an hour basically to get over there.
Yeah. No. And it's a great community and stuff. It's just, there is not a lot down there, but the fishing is absolutely phenomenal. And it's just, the bad thing is it catches all the flood water. I think this year it got to 30 foot high again, and they're pulling it back down again. And it makes it just almost impossible to fish. But they've just had some unbelievable spawns 5 or 6 years in a row now with no pressure on them.
Wow.
Yeah.
We definitely need to get down there.
It's got some good walleye fishing in it too. Really good walleye. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, as far as a lake being not busy, Lake of the Ozarks, I remember we're going to do a little bit of pivoting over to BoatWrX, but I remember being on Lake of the Ozarks in the morning, just floating around before a BFL. And you used to see a lot of, you'd see a lot of Ranger boats probably 10 years ago. Then you kind of started seeing Phoenix. And then all of a sudden, like 2-3 years ago, you started seeing Camus. It's like there's all these Camus boats everywhere. And that's because, BoatWrX came to town, and the Camus dealership was big. But I was blown away at how it's like you just started seeing this company grow. And talk a little bit about that, how is that one of the better selling boats, I guess, that you guys carry?
Yeah, by far, that's our number one. We're actually the number one Camus dealer in the world, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so it's and to do it, we've been in business now for a little over 2.5 years now, and to do it as fast as we did, we was the number one Bass Cat dealer first year out of the gate. We're the number one Camus dealer in the world now, and then with the other location, and we sell several boats, a lot of pontoons, but the Camus is hands down our number one seller by far. Earl, he was at our grand opening Saturday, and very great guy, very knowledgeable, very approachable. I talk a lot, but I think he talks more than I do if you get him cornered. But a man just full of wealth and knowledge. I mean, they have done an unbelievable job on this boat. And like you said, I can remember 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, pulling up the boat ramp, and they was the Camus I was in, and maybe Marcus Secordia and a couple other people. That was it. Yep. Well, I fished 3 days the week before up there, and horrible fishing, didn't do any good. But I fished the Wednesday nighter, and there was 33 boats in it, and there was 11 Camuses there.
Wow,
I believe it.
Yeah, and it's just, and it makes you feel good. I mean, we've got an unbelievable crew. I mean, it takes everybody from carrying the trash out to help them get the boats ready. We got some great sales staff. We got some great managers, and it just takes I don't think any one thing has really done it. It's just, we've worked hard. The people that are working are all tournament anglers, all avid fishermen, avid outdoorsmen, so they know what it's like and what people want from their dealership, and I think that's helped us a bunch.
Yeah, it's funny too. It's like you're looking at the boat, and then it's like a Mercury Pro XS.
Yes.
And then there's like a Yamaha, and then 20 more Pro XSs, and then there might be like this one lonely Honda or Suzuki just kind of sitting back there all by itself. They definitely got the market cornered. Mercury does.
But no, we've been very successful, and then the bait shop we had too that was originally started with Jim Love, which he's with Teenage Marine. He does still comes in on the tackle side, and then stick from Bass Pro, Drew Kepley, that was former manager at Lou's. I mean, they all come, everybody, Mike Goodman, and the tackle store in our area is just an unbelievable selection. And then baits and stuff, and the baits that are there are the ones that catch fish, if I'm saying that right. I mean, it's just a lot of good stuff in there and a lot of product. Our online store is absolutely phenomenal on it. There was actually a year ago, there was 2 people that was handling the online section of it. Now we've got a complete new a warehouse for that, and I think there's 7 full-time employees, and that's all they do is do shipping and handling and stuff and take care of the online orders.
Well, they're doing a heck of a job, because I mean, I've ordered a handful of times from you guys, and it's
pretty quick shipping.
I mean,
too.
Grant, we're across the state, so
yes.
you would expect quick shipping, but man, I've got stuff from St. Louis before, 2 hours up the road, and it takes 4 days to get here. It's like, man, I could have drove back and forth 4 times today and got that before then, but it's, quick shipping.
No.
I've heard that from all of my friends across the country. It's quick shipping. So,
no, thank you. Like I said, it's pretty proud to be a part of it. And I was actually one of their first employees. Jim Lovin, that helped start the business, actually called me, and I was working for a garage, Larry Levitt, and he calls me and he said, "Hey, Randy, I need Larry's number." And I said, "Oh, well, here, I'll just hand you the phone. You can talk to him." And he goes, "No, I just need his cell phone number." And I go, "Okay." So I just gave it to him. Didn't think nothing about it. About an hour and a half later, Larry comes out and he said, "Hey, you want to run over to lose and see Jim Lovin. And I go, okay. And I didn't think nothing about it. He said, I'll talk to you later. And I worked on boats on the side and stuff or detailed. So I assumed that's probably what it was, something to do with. And I walk in and Drew Sanford's there, which I knew Drew, and Jim Lovin, and they called me into the office. And I was like, okay, what's going on here, guys? And they shut the door behind me. And I go, okay, what's up, guys? And they said, we're starting a dealership. And I go, really? And I said, okay, well, when's this going, down? Well, Monday. I go, wow. You guys got this going. And I said, so what do you need from me? And they said, we just talked to your boss. You're starting to work for us Monday. I go, okay.
Really?
Well, so, but no, and it's really been a blessing. I mean, I give a lot of it to the Lord above. I mean, I've been very fortunate and stuff, and a lot of the stuff I've done, the best job I've ever had. I mean, I'm gone all the time. I do a lot of hours and stuff, but it's absolutely a blast to do it. And when you're having fun doing it, it makes the day go by extremely quick. So,
yeah, I mean, you're around what you love.
yes,
and you're getting paid to do it. It's like,
okay.
You can't ask for anything more than that.
No.
I remember first time I went into BoatWrX and BaitWrX was when you guys were you were in the same building, and yeah. I was on my way to Table Rock to fish a BFL with my buddy Mike Marfell. I think you might know Mike, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that was the first time we came in there, and I was impressed, man. Even back then in the smaller where you had both operations in one building, you still had a really good bait selection. And I've been there since you've moved over into the other building, and it's just expanded. It's just that much more. So it's really growing, and it's good to hear that you guys are moving to opening up another spot down there in Alabama. That's all. It's always good that something's expanding.
No, that is, and we've been very fortunate and stuff. I mean, Camus has really helped us do that by getting the boats to us. We'll be selling, and then Skeeter we sold a lot of them, sold Bass Cat. And then our pontoon lines, and then we also carry the Taiga wakeboard boats. So don't hate me for that, but
we all do. Don't worry.
I do too, so I hate them. So
that and the jet skis; those are the two worst. So
by far the worst. Don't like them.
Hey, but they make money, right? I mean,
people enjoy them. So I'm looking at them going, why are you doing that? I'd be bored in 5 minutes, and they're looking at me saying, well, look at that idiot over there fishing. Yeah, so. It's each your own on what you like to do, but
that's exactly right. Darius has got a good question here. It says, can you get a Camus with any motor that you want on it?
You can get Suzuki, Yamaha, and Mercury is what you can get them with. And the Suzuki is really hard to get, and the Yamahas are really hard to get. And Mercury it's kind of let up on them. That was the reason we didn't get a lot of Skeeters this year because of the motors and the Humminbird and stuff. They had a lot of parts setting out in port as far as all their electronics, and Skeeters actually comes with all Humminbird equipment, main coated trolling motors, everything else. And it was really put the hurt on Skeeter this year. But they're starting to get more available. We've actually got some Camuses in now with Yamahas on them. I actually work. It's funny, even my job, or they just got me new business cards, and on my position and title is everything, is what it is. I work boats, for tackle store, everything. So, but the Mercury, Yamaha, both of them, I really don't see any benefit from one or the other. There's really no problems with either one. It just more or less depends on what you like.
Ford Chevy at that point, right?
Exactly, that's what it is. They're both basically the same motor is what they are. There's not really a lot of difference between them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I mean, I got a Tohatsu. We run little Tohatsus on our John boats, and they're good motors too. I think actually some of the 30 horsepower and less Mercuries are made by Tohatsu. I'm pretty sure. Yep. So
Tohatsu makes it. I think Tohatsu makes almost every motor that's 30 and below.
Yes.
Across the line. So
yes, I'm thinking you're correct on that. I'll agree to that one.
So what's the best selling size of in the Camus line?
Man, it's a big toss up between the 20 and 21. It really the numbers are so close on that. I always run a 20. I like the 20 footer. The 19 is a sports car of it. It's a 72 to 73, 74 mile an hour boat. And it's actually like driving a little Ferrari or a Corvette or something. It is just unbelievable how agile that boat is. Very stable. The 20 and 21s, I mean, you know, if a lot of them that fish Lake of the Ozarks is 21s, man, it's a toss-up. I don't think there's probably three boats that we sell more than the other between the 20 and 21. Like regular.
Do you think you'll sell more of the shorter lengths down there in Alabama, being on a river system, being on a little smaller lake?
I think because it looks like the previous owner stuff sold a lot of the 19s, 18 foot boats, and I think it will come on more down here than it will the 20 and 21s. We're thinking that anyway.
Gotcha. And I don't know if you said this. Are you opening BaitWrX down there as well?
No, they'll have a small tackle line, but that is it. It will have it's already got one in it where I'm stocking it up now with some different style baits, some of the stuff we carry, and but it'll be not nearly the size. It'll be more of, you know, mom and pop come in quick and grab and go, you know, just trying to keep the stuff that the tournament anglers down here would need, you know, in a quick fix. Hey, I need these hooks or weights or plastic or something. We're trying to kind of build on that to see what everybody is using down here.
For sure.
Quick announcement. I see some new names in here. If you're new to the channel, just a reminder, we are going to be doing a giveaway here in a little bit. And the way the giveaway works is we're going to make a reference to a Sasquatch. When you hear the golden word, guess a number between 1 and 200. And Randy's picked out a number. We got it written down. So whenever you hear that word, make that guess. And we'll be doing a Cumberland Pro Lures and a Hawgz Custom Baits giveaway tonight. So stay tuned for that. Somebody had a question about the Big Bass Bash. It was a little bit off topic. I think it's just back up just a little bit. It was Chris right there, I think, right here. Throw that up there on the screen. It's kind of an interesting question. He says it's off subject, but what's the reason Truman Lake isn't included in all the Big Bass Bashes? Did it not get enough boat traffic to continue allowing both? Any idea on that, Randy?
Actually, the Big Bass Bash now for Terrell family for going on 12 years. And Truman, the biggest thing is what made Lake of the Ozarks successful, it has the accommodations for people to stay. Truman, last year when we added Truman on to do the weigh over here, there was less than 30 fish we did in 2 days. And you don't have the boat traffic, you just don't have the accommodations and stuff to fill it up, and it just never did draw over there. That's originally where they started. The Big Bass Bash was on Truman Lake. And I think then they actually started at Lake of the Ozarks, and it drew a little better, and then boom. And I think the last 4 or 5 years it's pretty much leveled off. It's as big as it's going to. I don't care if I've told the Terrell family, I don't care if they gave $1 million away. It's as big as it's going to get. It's about the average number. It's about 50 anglers now in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's just unbelievably huge.
Yes. I mean, biggest term around here. I mean, to go down and fish, I mean, an average angler can fish for $100,000, and, you know, it has been. You know, well, and it's amazing. I mean, the bait for a few years ago, I weighed in the winning fish, and the guy come in, and he really wasn't that excited. But then come to find out he was from Texas, and they had just moved to Lake of the Ozarks. He assumed it was going to take a 10-pounder to win it. And he weighed, you know, an upper 7 in. And he caught it on a up around Rainy Creek on a DD-22 in the spring, fishing 5 foot of water.
Huh.
Yeah.
Dredging, man. Dredging.
He was digging ditches to get back there, I assume. So.
Lord have mercy.
You never know, man.
No, you don't. When that's especially on that, when you are just going after one bite, you know, big swim bait, whatever, and you know, and it can end up being a jig fish that can, you know, you just don't know. It's taking that one cast at the right time is all it takes. It's been one so many days, in the last day, the kid this spring waded in. I mean, that guy led it from Saturday morning, was one of the first anglers to weigh in 45 minutes into the tournament and weighed in, and then had come in at like 2 o'clock on Sunday. He's still leading it. We thought, well, he's probably got this won. Well, and I felt bad for the guy because he has at coming in at 2 o'clock on Sunday. He's going ahead and taking his polygraph and stuff. He's spending $100,000. I mean, he's that confident he's got it, and he got busted down to third for it was said and done from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock.
Wow, the last hour knocked down 2 places. That's crazy.
100,000, 25,000 to 15,000, which is still good. I mean, that's yeah.
That's a heartbreaker.
That's a kick in the, you know what?
Yeah.
and it's amazing because you see it, and it's so different than, I mean, a regular tournament angler, you can't believe 90% of the time. If they tell you caught them there, go the opposite direction. That's the way tournament fishermen are. But at the Big Bass Bash, it is so crazy to sit there. I've seen it time and time again. Anglers standing in line, they're talking to someone that's 3 states over, and they're telling them, "Oh, you're not catching them? Well, here we're running up here. We're catching them in this one area. Well, I can give you some baits," and they'll actually let someone follow them to the spot they're going to and give them baits. Completely different atmosphere than what it is on an average tournament. So it's kind of funny on that part.
I remember my buddy, Mike Marfield, was telling me a story about him and his partner Greg fishing Anglers in Action down there on Lake of the Ozarks, and they brought 23 pounds to the scale, and they brought it in early, and they were waiting, and then here comes Mark Weesey, and he dropped like 25 pounds on the scale right there in the last, probably 10 people left to weigh in. Same kind of story. They thought they had it won, and boom, here comes somebody and drops it on the scale.
I've got spanked on that lake more than any other lake. Me and Ashley Ruggles 4 or 5 years ago weighed in, fished 7 tournaments in a row, and some of them was back-to-back days, and we had anywhere from 1899 to just shy of 21 pounds. And that was, 7 tournaments in a row. Guess how many checks we cashed? None.
Are you serious?
Yeah, paying 20, 25 places, we never cashed a check.
That's not even fair.
No, it's not. I mean, you come in, you think, and you're sitting out there, okay, we got close to 21 pounds. Yeah, we got a busted big one, and we ain't got a chance to get a check. And it was only taking 23 to 24 to win it. But it was stacked in there just so close. I mean, just unbelievable fishery.
Yeah. It's amazing how it stays consistent like that. I mean, it's been that way for quite a while.
Oh, yeah. Just like the spring, typically, I mean, they added 45 places. Originally, the Big Bass Bash paid 35 places. Now it pays 45 places every 2 hours. And it almost took a 4.5 pounder to get a check again this year with adding 10 places.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, that's just unbelievable fishery.
Well, it just shows how many 4 to 6 pound fish are in that place,
or even 3 to 4 pound fish.
Yeah,
that range. A good solid keeper. It's full of those things.
Yeah. And then several years ago, there was a guy standing in line, and we was at Red Oak helping Charlie Terrell, and you see his friends are sitting back laughing at this guy, and he's got a pen and black bag. I mean, he's coming up and stuff, and they're just standing back, just giggling and poking around and stuff. Well, this guy dumps the fish. It's a drum, and I just, what are you? And he goes, no, they told me it's a smallmouth. And his friends actually let him. He walked all the way through the line, stood in line with everybody with a drum in his back. Smallmouth is what it was.
Well, it had a small mouth.
It had a small mouth. I will agree with him on that.
Oh, Lord.
And his buddies absolutely just died laughing. But yeah, he walked all the way through the line with a drum in his bag and thought he had to win and fish.
That's like those city deer hunters that shoot a cow. I've heard of that happening. They get out in the woods once every 2 years, and farm owners have to put their cows in the barn. And
Heck, golly, if I knew they were going to be able to weigh in drum at the Big Bass Bash, I would have been there a long time ago because I am the drum master when it comes down to it. So now when there's money on the line, I guarantee I won't be able to catch one. But you got an hour left in the day and you just need one big bite and it's muddy water. You flip up there with the jig and it goes tick.
Yeah, it's the best bite in the world.
And you set the hook and it just
that and a flathead.
Well, the bad part about a drum is when he rolls in that muddy water and it flashes.
Yep, he looks like a bat.
Oh gosh, he's a heartbreaker is what he is.
Yeah. It's one of them, oh Jesus, don't come off, oh God, don't jump, one of them fish. Then you look at it and see it's a drum, yes.
Yeah.
It never fails. It seems like we've had college national championships. We've had classics winning after college, or that would have been if it was a largemouth, they would have won us the tournament. And every time there's big money on the line, we catch a big drum. So,
and that's
the story of my life.
I actually heard like losing a big fish or catching a drum or something like that is almost as painful as like a lady in labor is what I've heard.
I've heard that as well.
Stirring it up.
Yeah.
Makes this
Michael says, no tin boats. Does he realize whose show he's on? LO. They do carry an express line right down there at BoatWrX. Is that right?
Yeah, express, and we will actually be carrying express down here. Yeah, we carry. I apologize. We do carry the low line, express, and avid. Avids are probably premier aluminum bass boat that we carry. Express right below it. And what I mean premier, it's just the layout and stuff is just almost like a glass boat on the inside. They actually have true dry storage and stuff on the Avid. Same with the Express, but just a little cleaner atmosphere on the Avid.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
wife just got home and the dog went nuts. So that Avid,
that's a new one for me.
How long has Avid been around? I just kind of started hearing about that the last couple months.
5 years, 4 years is what it's been around. Very clean boat, very sharp. The guy that was actually with Vexus to beginning, come on board with Avid and started a line of his own in it. And it's a very clean boat, very sharp boat. That's probably one of the and the Express ride's good. Both of them with the Hyperlift hull, absolutely run fabulous. The hole shot on both of them, the Express and the Avid, is about 10 feet, and that thing's on pad. I mean, it's just unbelievable hole shots they have. They ride extremely well, handle rough water. The only disadvantage to any aluminum boat, they just a lot of drift in the wind. If you're trying to fish structure or something, and they just set a little higher, they're lighter, and that's just that's the one disadvantage to an aluminum boat. The only
we're well aware of that in a 16-foot John boat that we fish out of. So
So is Avid under the Vexus umbrella, or is it two completely different companies?
Completely different companies. Yeah, no relation. I mean, just the guy that did work for Vexus actually did come on and start the Avid line that was with Vexus.
Is the Express probably the most popular out of the three?
Yes. It's got a strong. I mean, it's like the guys that run Express boats are like the Bass Cat fans. I mean, there's one boat and one boat only. And the Express are, especially their small 17 and their 18-foot boats, are almost indestructible. I mean, just the weld lines they do, the coating, the armor floating, undercoated on them, they're just extremely durable boats. And I mean, beat them up and run them up on the gravel bars and all that with those.
What separates that smaller from the 19, 20, 21 footers then? On the durability, you said the durability on those little ones. Is there a difference between?
I mean, the ones that buy the 16s or the 17, 18 foot, but all of them are the same as far as durability. It's just the ones that run the smaller ones seem to treat them a little rougher than the guys that buy the bigger ones. So it's
fair enough. Yeah.
No, both of them are all built the same, and it's just the 16s, 17s, and 18s. They take a lot more beating than what the bigger boats do.
You don't feel as bad at running into a dock or
exactly
hitting a stump out in the middle of the lake in a aluminum boat.
Yes.
Here's a little history lesson here. Tom says Earl Bentz has been with Mercury since his boat racing days. Mercury Racing Team has Earl Bentz, Gary, I'm not sure how to say the last name, and then Bill Seabold. And guess who signed Bill and Gary to their lifetime contracts? So a little background info there.
Mm-hmm. No, all of them. That's all of it.
I lost you there. Your audio cut out just for a second there.
No, that's where actually Earl actually was in racing, what he was doing when he first started out.
Okay.
With him. And one thing that made us fortunate was with the boat after the deal, Camus being a new brand come on, he was a little bit more prepared. A lot of people was asking how we were still getting boats. And I mean, if their factory is just unbelievable. I mean, when they order fiberglass, it comes in tanker trucks. They're sitting there in a climate controlled building that holds the fiberglass for them. the parts, everything else, I'd hate to guess how many parts are down there in their construction area, just axles, tires, wheels, everything. And they buy a year to year and a half ahead of time on buying all the supplies for the Camus boats.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd hate money to set down there in that place with all the parts and inventory that they have in stock just to build boats. And all the boat manufacturers, Phoenix is the same way. Basscat is, of course, one of the smallest franchise for them to build the boats that they do, because they average about 500 boats a year is about what Basscat will build.
Okay, yeah, and like
that really puts it into perspective, though. When you say that 500 boats a year, I mean I see a lot of Basscats out there, but it's not anywhere near the Ranger, near the Phoenix, Triton,
Camus.
Well,
there's not as many boats out there as what I used to think. I mean, I've heard some statistics about the amount of glass boats that are sold in the United States, and it's not as much as what you think.
I was going to ask Randy, how many brand new boats do you sell a year?
With the pontoon lines and everything, actually,
I say take out the pontoons. Let's just call it in the bass world.
I'm gonna, and I may be off because I don't keep up on a lot of the numbers, but I'm gonna say 250 bass boats a year. Two,
and that's between all of your brands.
Yeah, your Basscat and Camus is
that's pretty solid, though. That's
yeah.
Pretty solid
For a company. When a lot of the dealers around here, I mean, a lot of the dealers sell 25 to 30 boats a year. I mean, as an average, a lot of them will sell, around 50 to 60 a year. I mean, I know a while back we was averaging, like, before the fourth hit, I think it was like 1.7 boats a day is what we was selling.
That's pretty good.
That's real good.
Yeah. I mean, we was having between 2 to 4 deliveries a day going out of there. And
you guys are banging.
Yeah. And I mean, we got a great service department, like I said. It's just everything's fell into place, and hopefully we're fortunate enough to keep doing it. We definitely have all the right people to do it. So as long as people keep coming in, and it ain't that hard. I always said I was in the service industry for 28 years. I worked for Purcell Tire, was very successful with it. Actually worked for Lewis for a little bit, and then went on. But the biggest thing is on sales and service, you treat someone like you want to be treated, and that's all you can do. And I mean, and that's all, and that's anything. I do so many tournaments. We was talking the other day. I've done 47 tournaments so far this year, either participated in or done the weigh-ins for. That's a lot of tournaments in a year's time. Ain't even half over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, so we counted up the other day. It was 47.
We haven't had 47 weekends.
Yeah.
This year.
Talking through the week, everything else. And all that.
I know. That's
impressive.
You're putting in the work.
I know. That's what. We got some other tournaments coming up. I do a lot through the week. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you don't think about it, and you get sitting back and, okay, well, I've done the Meeks tournaments. I done this tournament for them. I help them with the Big Bass Bash, doing some benefit tournaments, and yeah, I'm like, holy cow, there has been that many. Cowboy tournament just done a while back. Sartoma, Stockton, Sartoma, fishing tournament up there. Yeah, a lot of tournaments. Sorry, I'm rambling on. That's a lot of weekends, yes, and a lot of weekdays. So,
I like this question.
Andy wants to know: do you think Camus will ever build an aluminum boat?
No, I do not think so.
It's a tough. The market's kind of saturated. It's got to be tough to get in there.
Aluminum line is really hard with Express and stuff. Without there, the following they have, and then you got Low, and then you got several duck. I mean, there's a lot of aluminum boat markets out there, and it takes as much time to build aluminum boat as it does a glass boat, but it's a completely different production area going into to build one. And I just don't think it'll ever happen. Years ago, they built one for a while, and when the aluminum line was really hot. But now there's not a much difference between you get into an Avid or an Express one, they're top of line boats. There's not much difference between it and a glass boat when it comes down to price.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. That price point of that aluminum boat isn't far and below the price of a glass boat.
Not anymore. Not if you get into the 17s and 18s. Yeah, there's a pretty good price, but you get a 21-foot Express with a Yamaha 250 on it loaded. Yeah, you ain't much difference than you are getting a 21-foot fiberglass boat. Same thing with
Right.
the Avids makes a 20-footer. They're coming out with a 21-footer, but it will not, and it will be cheaper, but it's not that big a price point. You know, everybody thinks, oh my God, they're going to be $40,000 cheaper. No, they're not even close to that. They're $10,000 difference.
So what would be the reason, if it's not the price point so much, what would be a reason to choose a glass boat over an aluminum or an aluminum over a glass boat?
I think a lot of the ones that are like fruit or stuff like a lot of timber that'll go with the aluminum line boat. We sell a lot of them up north on the upper Mississippi, on the run the Mississippi bars and all that. We'll go with the aluminum line boat. Most of our bass tournaments go with the glass boat.
Okay, your audio is cutting out a little bit, but I think like people that tend to fish in a river are gonna maybe favor an aluminum boat possibly over a glass boat, and vice versa.
You got the guys that we sell up in the upper Mississippi that'll come in. They definitely want the line boat or room or something that are very electric with a lot of timber. Probably like a lot, but then your typical bass fish, they want the glass.
Yeah. That makes sense. And obviously, if you're on big water, I would tend to lean towards a heavier boat, which is going to be a glass boat. It just seems like it's going to take the pounding a little bit better, maybe a little bit smoother ride. But if you're on a, around here, we got a lot of lakes that are less than 3,000 acres. So you'd have no problem.
Even a little 17, 18-foot boat.
Yeah. Aluminum.
On some of those smaller lakes. I mean, that would be ideal.
Ideal on it. We sold several up in here. And it's getting better and better because the Mercury or the Yamaha motors were really hard to get. So now they freed up a lot, and we've got several in stock. I've sold several now with the 75 horse motors, 100 or 115, 155s on.
Do you see is there a certain color of a boat, maybe a trim package and stuff that is more popular than another?
No, not really. It's just anymore. It's just, the last one I just ordered, I actually had purple on it before we wrapped it. But some people can't stand the purple. I thought it was gorgeous. Had a lot of comments and stuff on. And we get some people that'll want, yellow or whatever. And a lot of them like the black. Black and silver combination. I think that's probably the most popular one we sell. It's something with a black slate and it with pinstripes on it. It's probably the most popular one.
That's what Marcus has, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what he's got. Yeah.
It's easier to resell a boat that doesn't have purple or yellow or lime green.
Exactly. Because we've got some that come in and you'll never sell it, and someone will absolutely fall in love with it. Oh my God, this is the perfect boat.
Well, I know years and years ago, before the market really took off on the used boat market, and we'll get into that. I'm sure we'll get into that here in a little bit. But you could tell, like, you get a bright yellow boat, and it would be $2,000 to $5,000 less than the exact same boat sitting right next to it that was like red and white.
Yeah.
No, exactly. No, and the used boat market has slowed down some, not a lot, which typically we slow down. Typically slow down this time of year anyway. But the used boat market is still that used to a $25,000 boat used was a really, really nice boat. Now a $25,000 boat is just a nice boat. It ain't, it's going to have some scratches, some dings in it and stuff. And it's just amazing. And it has slowed down some, but I've almost seen fights over a used boat in the parking lot. Someone come up and, got online. We sold the Champion a while back. And I just put a video like I do a lot of times. Hey, boat trade in. I forget it was a 2005 or 6, coming soon. Oh my God, the phone blew up. And then 3 or 4, a guy just called and said, I'll take it. Well, I'll take it like it is. Okay, then. And then we had 4 or 5 people show up. Well, why you told us it wasn't for sale yet? Well, this kid, but but that has slowed down some.
I mean, you are right though. A buddy of mine and he's been looking at boats, and every time I see one that's in his range, I send it to him just to poke the bear a little bit. But it's like, you know, we discussed this. Like the unfortunate part is you're buying a motor.
Yes.
And if you get into that lower price range, you're buying a 2-stroke motor.
Yes.
And we all know, well, I would say all outboards, I hate to say it, but they're all ticking time bombs. They're all going to go eventually. Just like a car, but there's no transmission, and you run them at high RPMs and you treat them like crap. We all do. So it's just it's that fear of buying a boat with 400, 500, 600 hours on it and not knowing the life history of it and all that. So,
and that's one good thing. We actually, a company we go through, bringing that up, and this is good information. Summit Finance Group, they do all of our finance. They do a really great job. That's pretty much all they do is boat loans. They can actually, I think it's go back 15 years, and they can actually sell you a full warranty, more or less bumper to bumper on a used boat. I think back for 15 years. And it's not really that. It'll cover a new power head or anything. And we have used it before on a few things. So that's someone in the used boat market, if they're thinking about that, you know, they can actually contact Summit Finance, and you can actually buy a warranty through them for the motors. You have to have the boat checked out. Have to show that it's got good, you know, compression, this and that. But you can actually buy a full warranty on that motor for like 3 years.
Well, that's peace of mind at the end of the day. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's the most expensive. I mean, especially on a used boat, you're not buying the boat. I mean, now if it's got $10,000 worth of electronics on it, yes. But otherwise, you're buying a motor and they're throwing a boat in as a consolation prize with you.
Well, you know, even that you say that with $10,000 worth of electronics, what good is a boat with a motor that don't run?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's what you get into.
It looks pretty sitting in the driveway, but that's about it.
Yes.
With the jelly.
Sold several of the warranty, or if someone's got a boat that's getting ready to run out of warranty, you can actually, you know, call them and talk to Trent or Dan, and they can actually fix them up and give them a quote on buying a extended warranty on a boat that's running out of warranty.
What's up, Aaron? It's good to see you on here. I haven't seen Aaron on here in forever. It's good to see you on here. Gary says, what's my opinion on a Ranger? Well, a
Ranger 10. I think it was a Ranger 10 boat. Though.
Ranger 10 boat. Yeah, I've been in the the RT 188.
Yep.
It's a decent. I mean, I like it. It's nice. I've been in the. I think I've been in the Vexus 10 one. But yeah, I mean, they're nice boats. They're definitely nice boats. They serve a purpose. They're just like a bass boat for the most part. I mean, I haven't been in like rough water in any, so I don't know how they act in rough water. To me, that's the only thing that I could see being a big difference between a glass and an aluminum is maybe if you're in really big rough water. But and like you said, in the wind, the 10 boat's going to drift a little bit because it is a little lighter. But I think, man, for these smaller lakes, I think a 17, 18 foot 10 boat is perfect. You can do just about anything. Even in the bigger lakes, if you stay within a short range, you know, if you're not wandering too terribly far, you can fish pretty good out of an 18 foot, you know, aluminum boat for sure.
When I first started tournament fishing, which I started tournament fishing back in the 90s, mid-90s, 94, 95, I actually started out tournament fishing with a 16-foot ridge line with a 35-horse tiller steer, and I had an ice chest and stuff for a live well with aerator pumps in.
Yep,
sounds real familiar.
You're hitting home with us right now.
I remember fishing the Budweiser tournament there and cash a check and stuff in it, and that's when at Stockton when they was drawing 100 to 125 boats, and I was in that little 16-foot ridge line. And I think before I got out of the no wake area, I think I was passed like 45 times. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Heck, we're talking about. So we fish this. There's a bunch of little USA bassins over here that you can qualify for a decent regional at. Well, me and a buddy are going to go fish the winter circuit just to qualify for the Wren, just so we can take our 16-foot John boat over there with a 10-horse motor on a 8,000-acre lake and have everybody laugh at you and go and try to win the dang thing.
Look here. Daniel T's got something that would apply to that. He says aluminum, I would imagine you could get into lower water places
100%.
than you can with glass. It's going to float. It's going to draft less. So you are going to be able to fish a little bit skinnier water. There's definitely some truth to that.
Mark or not Mark. Oh, my mind's blank. He's one of the elite anglers.
John Cox.
No, and this has been several years ago. He actually showed up on Lake Dardanelle and fished out of an aluminum skeeter, and won it. And then that's when they made it the rule. Then after that, and that was the reason he did, because he could get back in a more shallow area. So then the following year on BSS, whatever boat you started out with, you had to fish in that boat all year long.
I bet that was
Mark
Steve. Was it Steve Kennedy?
No, Mark Menendez is who.
Oh, okay. Menendez?
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Actually was getting it back in there, and they dropped the water the last day really big time on him, and he just about didn't make it back in there. But that, and he was fishing with I think it had a 115 on it's what it was, if I remember right. So smaller horsepower motor. It was like a 17-foot aluminum boat.
I tell you, for at least for our small boats, that fuel bill right now is wonderful compared to filling up that 250 with 52 gallons.
Yeah, we got a 3-gallon tank in our boat, and we can fish 2 days on 3 gallons.
and we're complaining going to the gas station. Like, when it got high, I was like, man, it's $15 to fill up my tank just to go fishing. And I couldn't imagine what it was. I had my Ranger, and I had 48 gallons worth of fuel in that boat. So,
no, it's crazy. Oh, and someone, this is off subject, the bait fuel.
Yes.
I truly believe, and the biggest thing, I was at Red Crest, and we was the first one in the country to actually sell the stuff. And that we made the announcement that we had it there on Facebook. And what blew my mind, and I think we had, it was over 300 bottles. And we sold out in the first few hours. And it was 90% of the officials for the MLF was in it. And also people like Skeet Roos and stuff like that was coming up and buying it. And all these officials had been with them, but it was just in a plain bottle. They did not know what they had been using for the last 2 or 3 months. And then it just absolutely floored me how many of them come up buying it. Plus, then we had elite guys there that was actually buying it. And it wasn't coming up buying a bottle. I mean, they was buying 10 bottles at a time, you know. And those guys typically are not going to buy anything, you know, that's not giving them. And to come up with full price for it, you know, sending someone up and buying 10 bottles, they definitely had to think of making a difference, or they wouldn't have been buying it.
I agree. So what do you think personally with your experience either on a bait or being in a boat with somebody that's got that stuff on some of their baits? And
I just seem like that they hold on to it longer. You don't get as many misfit, and I ain't saying that it's a magic bait, anything else. Because definitely, I mean, if not, it's going to be the best gimmick they ever had in their life, because there's no smell to it. It's not an oil base. And the research that they done on it for, I think it was like just over 3 years. Actually, when they're actually breathing in, when it brings in through their gills, a fish the oil does not dissolve in it. They cannot pick up any scent or anything through that, like in a lot of our oil-based scents that are on it. But this is water soluble, and it doesn't have, but it's just the enzymes and stuff that trigger a fish to want to eat is what it is. So it actually goes back to more or less their taste buds and memory glands of what this would taste like, and when they're breathing it in, are able to sense it and smell it. But it's just small enough and minute, just like a dog picking up a scent on something, you know, that we can't smell. We can't smell what this is. And another advantage I found with it is super slick. When you first put it on a bait, flipping bushes and stuff like that, I mean, you can't hardly get it. You get it on your hands. I mean, it's immediately you can wipe it off. But it is punching grass mats down here the other day and flipping bushes and stuff. Oh my God, the bait goes through a lot less hang-ups. The bait just slides on through it and goes into it.
Huh.
Truly believe. I've done it with and without it. I've messed with it a lot. Jim Lovin, I've talked to him. Jim Lovin actually really believes, I think it makes a difference. Jeremy Lawyer has got a really good story. And he was one of the first ones that was on their staff using it. And they was out crappie fishing. And I told the story 3 or 4 times. He said they wasn't catching nothing. And he said they gave him a bottle and he didn't think nothing about it. He put some on some baits. We caught like 4 or 5 crappie. And then went back, and they said he squirted some more on, caught 2 or 3. And someone was with him, hadn't had any fished the same pile, which maybe could have been the cast off. But then he said they put some on his, and it was almost fish for fish when they was catching that on the crappie.
Wow.
Yeah, so and it's a pretty good story. And I mean, and Jerry Malone was a great guy, and I mean, it's something that he wouldn't, make up. I mean, it was a pretty neat little story he was telling us.
Oh, I'm a believer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was the guy that didn't research it and didn't know what it was, and bought it. And I bought it from BaitWrX. I bought 2 bottles of it, one for myself, one for my dad. And I opened up the first bottle and I smelt of it, and it's like,
there's no smell.
No,
this one's bad. I'm going to give this one the old pop. Open up the next one. I was like, well, heck, this one's bad too. It don't have no smell to it either.
no.
So,
like I said, it is, and it's very slick, and it has no taste. I've actually tasted it. It has no taste. I mean, so
It's good salad dressing.
yeah, exactly.
just makes you more hungry.
So here I've got a couple stories with bait fuel, and I believe it does make a difference. But I'll just share one of you because one of the stories, because I don't think I've talked about this story on here. First of all, I think there are days when it's not going to matter. In my opinion, the fish are just biting good, and they're going to pick it up, and you're just going to catch them no matter what. But I think where the bait fuel does have an advantage is on those days when they are being a little finicky. Maybe the fish are really pressured, and the times that I think it works are those times when you're getting, they'll pick your bait up and then they'll drop it real quick. And on a recent trip, Joey from Crocagator had sent me a couple packs of tubes. They got some new tube colors, which by the way are really nice. They got 4 different tube colors. So I went out in the lake and I was shooting some video, and I was just Texas rigging a tube, just flipping it and pitching it and just casting it. Basically any place that I would just throw a worm. I was fishing it like I was fishing a worm or a jig out off points and stuff, grass lines. Well, I caught 1 fish on it, and then I got 3 bites, and they hit it and they drop it. And I hadn't put any bait fuel or anything. They were just straight out of the pack. And I'm like, something's going on. They were good bites, but when I swung on them, it was air. They were gone. So I sat down and I flipped that tube upside down, and I took some bait fuel and I squirted it inside of that tube and just kind of worked it around in there and let it set up. And then I just kind of slicked the sides of it, slicked the tentacles up with it. And my next 3 or 4 bites, I hooked up with the fish. Now, it's hard to tell if I just came through an area and the fish were a little more aggressive, or if the bite just changed, but I don't think that was it. I really think that that enzyme or whatever is in it caused those fish to pick it up, to hold on to it, and long enough for me to set the hook. Kind of like a max scent thing or a power bait thing. It's similar. It's when the fish are kind of in a funk, I think that is an advantage. And you'll know if you need it. If you start getting those little bites and you swing and there's nothing there, sometimes just putting that bait fuel on there is going to make them hold on to it a lot longer. And I've seen it happen several times. I really have seen it happen several times.
I keep it in the boat all the time now. I mean, like you said, and certain days I don't care what you done. I mean, I fished yesterday, and I don't think you get dynamite. You could have caught one. I mean, horrible fishing. But I do truly think it does get you. And 1 bite is huge. It can really be one day. One extra bite usually.
Yep. Chris says, do you marinate with it or apply it when you put your bait? I've done it both, but I think the best way to do is just put, just a decent little squirt in your bag of soft plastics and just kind of work it around and let it sit overnight. That's probably the best way. But if you forget to do that, or if you go by the bait store and you buy, a new bag of plastics, you can still just put it on there the day of.
Yeah.
Look, Aaron got his big bass of the year on Kincaid. Congratulations.
Congratulations. It's awesome.
It's always
Kincaid's been fishing pretty good.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
We're checking out these comments here.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Joey with Crocagator said those tubes are dope.
They are dope. I like them. You guys did a good job on the colors.
And you mix them with a little bait fuel, and apparently they're just straight fire.
They're fire. I like that. The green pumpkin with purple has been the one that I've been catching most of my fish on, but they also have a green pumpkin with the orange. And I need to throw that around a little more because I was throwing Cumberland Pro makes the new pig jig. It's in a GPO, which is green pumpkin orange color. And I don't throw that color much throughout the year other than spring. I mean, I like a lot of orange in the spring for whatever reason. I think the crawfish get some orange on them. But I've been throwing that color combination, that green pumpkin orange, a little bit more lately. And it definitely works in the warm water too. And you kind of clued me
I
in
don't know
on
what
that
you're
a
talking
little
about.
bit.
Orange does not work, guys.
Yeah.
Stop
right.
fishing with orange. It does not work.
Yeah, whatever.
Especially in the summer and the fall when you're flipping.
And everything, you know, like the bluegill and sunfish and stuff. They
Yeah.
when they're spawning, they spawn about every month throughout the summer. So when those males are in the middle of the spawn, they get bright orange on them. So that makes sense that green pumpkin orange would work, you know, year round pretty much.
Randy's scratching his head saying, guys, would you just shut up about the orange?
A lot of space. Crockewader, I absolutely love their 3/4 ounce knocker buzz bait.
Yeah, they make a lot of good products. I was throwing like a 3/8 ounce around the other day. I haven't got on a good buzzbait bite yet.
No,
I don't throw it enough.
No, and I had a couple decent days in the spring, but that was it. And that was actually, it was a grand. Is where I fished grand probably more than I did any lake this. But and caught some good ones up there. But and there was few and far between. Just wasn't a lot of bites, but it just seemed like they didn't come up. Grab it.
Yeah, my problem is I don't get on the water till about 10 o'clock because I always stay up late and I sleep in. That buzzbait bite's long gone at 10 o'clock usually.
But no, and the fishing we have, that's why I'll be glad when it starts cooling back. I love fall fishing. I love winter fishing. I mean,
see, I'm not so much on the winter fishing, but after yesterday, I am ready for some water temperatures to drop and the grass to start matting out.
It's close. It won't be long.
I know, and then that frog bite gets on, and the wife won't see me for a few months. So,
but no, like I said, we have been very successful on the bite. And I forgot to mention our marketing team. We have an unbelievable marketing team to help the success of BoatWrX with Brock and Jacob and Nate. Which, John was our original photographer that done all of our photography and everything for us. And great kid, super good kid. He actually works for the New Orleans Saints now, and that's all he does is video them basketball and football team. So kudos to him. That was a great job opportunity for him to go to. But we have an unbelievable marketing department to getting the boats wrapped and everything else, and the videography that they do. So hats off to them.
Well, it makes a big difference when you got a good team. When everything's firing on all cylinders, it's just night and day.
No, it's really good. It just makes you feel good, especially to be a part of it with all the people seeing the growth of the company. We originally started, there was me and Gina. I think there was 7 of us there working, and I think there's around 50 some now. Like 50 some employees total.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So with BaitWrX and all the companies run together. But,
well, you don't become number one by just halfway doing everything. You guys got to all run together. You guys got to have a great team, that from the service to the office guys. And I'm sure not everybody gets along every single day of the week, but
oh,
my goodness, it all comes together. And from out here, it looks like a well-oiled machine. So
yeah. That at the end of the day is what counts. And don't get me wrong. Yes, we have some like, why wouldn't you know? But that's what it is. But it's up and going, and that's it. So makes a lot of people happy and makes us happy.
For sure.
Just a reminder, Jay Bethel Outdoors says the Warrior William Project tournament is almost full. If you're thinking about entering, you better get in this week. It's October 8th at Lake of the Ozarks, going out of Red Oak. So the Warrior William Project, if you're in the Lake of the Ozarks area and you are looking for a tournament, a great tournament for a great cause, get online and check out that project because it'd be well worth it. It's a good time.
It is a good tournament.
I like Andy's comment, except for the lake that he picked.
Yeah.
What do you say here?
He says we need to have a 10-horse Monty tournament with channel subscribers on a lake away from home, like Gunnersville.
It sounds like we need to go to bull shows.
See, but there's a problem. What's your channel name? It's not Glass Boat Monty. It's
we can get intent. We can get out in bull shows. Well, yeah. I mean, we're not going to get run over by pleasure boats.
Right.
No, put in a K-Dock. Yeah, you can run. It can be some of the best fishing on the whole area. You put in a K-Dock, it ain't 100 yards wide anywhere down through there for several miles, and you got a lot of good creeks and stuff down there. So
yeah. Well, I can run about 22 miles an hour. It'll take me a minute to get there, but I'll make it eventually.
Well, you know, if worse comes to worse, you just put an extra 3 gallons of gas in the boat, and you can fish for days, days.
And I promise you, and I've been around a lot of people and fished a lot of tournaments, and the boat does not win the tournament. I promise you.
I tell you what scares me the most, pulling up to a BFL or even just a regional around here, is the guy that pulls up an old beat up John boat with an old Merc on it that is smoking like a chimney.
Matt Eisenbacher. I fished with him several years back in the Heartland days, and then he done 2 tours in Iraq and come back, and he ended up getting a small aluminum Monarch boat with a 40 horse, and I think he won 2 or 3 of our polar bear tournaments, one of the solo pro tournaments, and so I got tickled on the it was the polar bear tournament. There's 40-some boats in it, and he won it with like 19 pounds at Palmy. And the guy sitting next to him, he looked at Matt and he said, he goes, "Congratulations." But he said, "I'm just telling you right now," he said, "I've got more in my front graph and you do that whole boat and you're tackling it." Yeah, so the boat does not win the tournament. I promise you that. It may take you longer to get there, but that's it.
Yeah, we used to fish those. It was a super bass tournament out of Galcondo on the Ohio River. And there's, you got the Ohio River and you got a lot of creeks that just shoot off and they're all stumpy. But there's a couple guys that show up that had aluminum boats and ponytails. If you saw those guys with ponytails show up on a river tournament, you might as well hang it up. You might as well just put the boat back on the ramp.
One old boy that fished over in Southern Illinois.
There's a couple.
Bowman.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that he'd show up and you never knew.
Yes.
Ponytail and a bright pink hat rolling down the lake.
Yeah. Ready to go.
Joey's got a comment here. She says, "Randy, how often do you have to get out on the water during a tournament to help out a boater? Any good stories on that?"
Oh yeah, I mean, especially the biggest thing is pulling hooks out of people. Now this year, knock on wood, I haven't done it, but it's unbelievable how many times I pull hooks out of people. That's my biggest thing. And then also getting in the boating business. The other morning, a guy texted me at 4:18 in the morning that his power pole wasn't working.
Yes. And you said,
I didn't respond. But no,
I was going to go sideways with that, but I didn't.
Get a hook out of someone. I've had it where I've had them in me. I've had Jim Lovin had 2 stuck in his back one day, and fished all day with 2 hooks in his back. But the best one, Table Rock, pre-fishing for a Heartland, and this has been several years ago. And I'm walking down the boat ramp, and I hear 2 guys over there, and one of them goes, "No, you quit it." And he hollers out, he said, "You're not doing it anymore." And I look over, and he's just got blood running down his arm. And I thought, what's going on? And I walk over, and he's got a big number 2 treble hook right in his forearm. And they was doing the line trick, but what they was doing, they was just wrapping it around it, and his brother's just yanking it. Wasn't putting no pressure on the eye of the hook. And I said, and I told them, I said, "Guys," I said, "I'm just telling you," I said, "if you will just put pressure on the eye of that hook," I said, "and do what you're doing, it will come out." And the guy said, "We ain't doing it again." That's why I'm just telling you. He said, "We're going to go to the doctor." And then his brother looked at him and he said, "Well, let's just try it one more time." And I guess they had done this 4 or 5 times trying to yank his hook out. Well, anyway, I said, "I'll go roll your arm over. Now put pressure right there on the eye of that hook." And they got the line around it. And I mean, and it'll pop one out just tink like that. And it pops up. And the guy looks at me and he goes, "Where the hell was you at an hour ago?"
Were they brothers?
Yeah, they were 2 brothers.
I bet when you walked away, there was some more choice words that were said, and probably maybe a couple blows hit.
Somebody didn't get a Christmas card.
Yeah, he didn't get a Christmas card that year, I promise you. Well, that was the funniest one, I mean, as far as that been in the tournament business. And then several years ago on the Big Bass Bash, 2 anglers weighed in on a Saturday. And when we was weighing out a Red Fox, I think Charlie and them, I asked them if they bought a helicopter to find that location. It is in the middle of nowhere. You drove 25 miles of gravel road and 10 miles of that, of 10 different roads to get there. And if anyone showed up, it was coming to that tournament, and there was no boat ramp or anything there. Well, these two young guys weighed in that Saturday, and I think one of them cashed a check. Well, anyway, the next day around 10:30 on a Sunday, you see this pickup coming down through there, and I looked over at Ashley and Jamie, and I think Lydia, my daughter, was there working too, if I remember right. And I said, wonder who this is. Well, this pickup pulls up, and the guy gets out, and he looks at me and he said, has my buddy been here today? And I said, Al, I don't know. And he says, I weighed in with, and I go, yeah, you guys weighed in the two fish yesterday. And he said, yes. And I said, no, he hasn't been here today. I said, is there a problem? And he said, well, we went to a bar last night. He left with some gal with the boat and truck, and I can't find him. And this was 10:30 the next day. So,
Oh, Lord.
phone there's horrible, so he couldn't call out. He'd actually had to bum a ride to even get a ride over there trying to track his buddy down. So kind of a funny story.
They went on a honeymoon. They drove to Vegas, got married, and they're out in the ocean going to some deserted island.
I thought that was hilarious, though. But I've been thinking about everything or seen it done at a tournament scenario. A few years ago, and I hate to even say it, actually gave CPR to a guy, and he passed away at the end of the tournament at the boat ramp.
Oh, man.
So I've tournament scenario, anything and everything. I've seen it or about done it. I promise you.
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly. So, but I've met a lot of great people doing it. Made some great friendships off of it. I mean, I've got some. The old saying is, I know 1,000 people, and I know that many of you got 10 friends, but all 10 of them would be fishing. I've got some really tight knit friends in that group. So any of them, I could call them any time of the day, and they come help me out. So
for sure, it's good to have those folks on your side.
Well, that's a cool thing about tournament fishing, or just the fishing industry in general. You make a lot of friends. It's
amazing.
A real open group of people.
Yeah. No, it's a great group of people. A lot of good people out there. Just like the benefit Jay's talking about, we're actually doing a benefit on September 18th, and it's such a small world. I was at the Springfield Fair a week ago doing it. Well, I met a couple out there, and I just commented they had a little girl that had a service dog with her. And just a beautiful little girl that you could tell something was wrong with her, and I didn't want to ask the parents or anything. Well, the next day I was telling Deshelle, our male, she does a little bit of everything there. She helps Chris Stovall a lot. But she just runs around doing a lot of things for everybody, getting sails ready, making sure boats are ready, all this and that. But anyway, I'm telling her about this little girl, and she said, her name's Ellie. I go, how do you know her name's Ellie? And she goes, I went to school with her mom. That's Ellie. She showed me a picture, and sure enough, the little girl's got brain cancer. She's 2 years old, and we're actually doing a benefit tournament. So, you never can tell. I mean, it's just amazing, all over the world. But then already the people that's jumped on board to help out with that, it's just amazing. A little post, on Facebook. Pretty amazing. A lot of good people.
That's September 18th. What lake and what boat ramp?
Table Rock.
Table Rock.
Yep. Out of Hawgz.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to leave a link to that in the description box if somebody wants to go fish that.
No, thank you. Yeah, pretty cool deal. I mean, Jack's stable right now. They got chemo treatments till the and she'll start racing.
Joey says, what about mechanical issues during a tournament where there is a time crunch to get the angler back to weigh in? I've had, that's happened to me before. I remember fishing a BFL in the LBL division. We were on Barkley Lake. We were fishing the Little River out of Barkley State Park. And we literally ran probably 500 yards. And we were fishing this channel swing bank. You could see the marina. I mean, it was off in the distance. It might have been more than 5. It was probably a mile maybe, but you could still see where we were going, where we put in at. And we fished this little stretch of bank for probably, Oh, I'd say 5 hours, and it was about a 200-300 yard stretch. There was about 5 or 6 docks. It was just a nice rocky channel swing bank, and I had a 5'10". I had almost a 6-pounder fishing out of the back of the boat. My boater had probably 12 pounds. He had probably 3 fish. I mean, you know, it was decent. But anyway, we had about 5 minutes till we had to weigh in, and we could see where we need to weigh in. Probably had about 10 minutes till we had to weigh in. Well, he tried to fire his motor up, and it was dead. And he didn't have a jump box. He didn't have jumper cables. He didn't have anything. So we're flagging people down. Finally, you know, everybody's running back to weigh in. They've budgeted just enough time to get back too. They really don't have time to stop and help somebody out. But we flagged somebody down. They had a later weigh in than we did, and we did the little transfer. I stayed with the boat because we still had trolling motor juice. We just didn't have a cranking battery, and I stayed with the boat while my boater transported our fish to weigh in. And we got there. I think he threw the little key fob in the net with like 30 seconds to go, so it was super tight. I can't remember what happened. I guess he weighed in our fish and came back. But like you're saying, that happens. And it's usually, a lot of times it's when you've been on that trolling motor for a long time and your live well pumps are running. You haven't fired that outboard up, and you know, that alternator is not charging your batteries. And it's usually when you need it to fire up and you don't have much time to get back to the boat ramp. So,
well, there's nothing worse than that feeling when you do crank that motor up right before you get to take off, and it goes rah, 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 one more time than it's supposed to go rah, 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 and it's a little bit of a pucker moment, I promise.
At 6 months, that was a fear, and you don't see the mechanical issues. I mean, do once in a while. I mean, I actually threw an ear on a prop the other day. I've never done that in all my years of fishing, never did. And I mean, went along about the time the motor went to, and I actually thought it was missing, and actually an ear broke off, and it was a piece. Oh, and it wasn't that big. It was probably just about the size of a $50, just like I'd knocked a piece out of it. And it went to vibrating real bad and pulled over, was able to swap it out and get back in. But been lucky, haven't broke down just a few times. And years ago, I got on I don't pre-fish a lot for tournaments with work and stuff. But got on a really good pattern up in the Niangua. Me and Ashley run up there. We fish maybe 10 minutes, and it was just a particular type of rock and stuff we was looking for. And she catches a 4, and I catch one about 3.5. Okay, we go to fire up the boat, and nothing. The tracker valve went out of it. It's just dumping fuel. And we're plumb up the Niangua. We ended up getting towed in. Got Randy Terracombe took us in. They got the boat fixed. We didn't have enough time to get back on the water, and I was on a pretty good pattern. Well, then the next day, we jumped in one, and it went from 60s to 33 was the high the next day, with snow flurries and sleet is what it was. And they completely changed on us. And actually, Ashley's the one that I was actually going to take her in because she was just freezing to death. I said she wasn't dressed heavy enough for it, and I wasn't planning on fishing anyway. And she caught a 730 on a stick bait.
dang.
Yes, and it's amazing because she was sitting there and she goes, "No, just get me out of the wind. Get me out of the wind." And I said, "Ashley, I'm taking you in." She sets the hook and she said, hold on a second. And oh my God, this fish comes up, it jumps, we net it and everything. And then I look back at her and her hood's off. She's got her gloves off. Her skin color's all back. I mean, just and what was sad, it was a benefit tournament. We was fishing, which I don't care. It was a great cause, but we ended up having 4 fish that weighed right at 18. It was just right at 18 or just over 18 pounds. And first place paid $2,500, and second place paid batteries. It's what we won. So we got burnt 2 days in a row.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, it's amazing how you catch a fish and it just totally changes your demeanor and your posture. I know, like, you know how slow it is in the winter sometimes.
Yes.
You catch a fish and you're good for another 30, 45 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, because you don't ever know. I mean, and that was one of them, like I was talking to the guy catching, the winning fish on the DD22, dredging, I guess, channels out to get, to get to the fish. I pulled out of the wind on it and the water temperature, I mean, we was throwing stick baits and stuff, and the water temperature was probably I think it had dropped. It was like 42 that morning. It had been like 45, 46. And so it had taken a pretty good drop. It's sleeping. We pulled around out of 25 foot of water, and the boat was sitting in like 8 foot of water on a flat. And this is at 12:30, and it was a 2 o'clock weigh in. And boom, she catches a 7-pounder on this flat. And I'm like, what? That shouldn't have been there. We ended up getting 4 other keepers and lost one in an hour and a half fishing. And the boat was sitting in 7, 8 foot of water. And you're like, why and why, I don't know to this day. And I've done it other scenarios like that. No, it didn't work, but that day it did almost.
Yeah.
So, well, we talked about that yesterday about color selection. Those largemouth and smallmouth, they don't read the same textbooks that we do.
No, they do not.
Either that or they're written in a different language that I don't understand.
Exactly.
Because we have this great idea of what they're supposed to do, but that's how new baits are created, is what we're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
And those fish will get up in that. Sometimes they get up in that shallow stuff, even when the water's in the 40s and high 30s, and just to warm up, just to get that sun on their back, especially if it's a sunny day. It's crazy, Sometimes those fish are
I've heard guys of catching fish that bust through the ice to get a jerk bait that they threw up on the edge of the ice. I mean,
me and Godwin several years ago at Mutton Creek in Stockton, we would actually throw it up on the ice, and it was just starting to thaw out, and we would pull it out. I mean, throw it right to the edge of it, and they was probably 3 or 4 foot out in front of the ice, and we caught 17 or 18 pounds that day on a stick bait and caught 25, 30 fish.
Wow.
And it just amazes me, like you said, it's just whatever you think they'll do, you can throw it out the door. I mean, why did they go lay by a lay down for 3 days eating shad, and then the next day they go to a rock pile and want a crawdad? Why? I mean, to move like they do. And now it's amazing all the help the anglers and stuff get. I mean, I remember when I first started tournament fishing. I mean, you're doing a great thing here. I mean, you got a great show going on. All the others. I mean, you can YouTube anything anymore and find it out. And I used to, and still do some seminars and stuff. But when I first started tournament fishing, it was night fishing. That's what I done. I mean, that was it. And then I started transitioning to day tournaments. Well, I can promise you they don't bite a 10-inch worm 365 days a year. I can just tell you. But that's what I would try to do. That's all I knew. And you had no information except for Bassmasters magazine when it come out. That was your only source. And, trying to ask someone back then, they wouldn't tell you nothing. And if it was going to be a lie.
Yeah,
so
that's the truth.
Trust, But it's amazing how the information you can get, that the techniques that's come out and everything, and how fast something can grow so quick overnight. I mean, a new bait.
Jay says, when you were out there fishing in 31-degree weather and sleet, did you have shorts on?
No, I did have long pants on that day. I can never forget, me and Gene was fishing Lake of the Ozarks, and I think it was 36 or 37 degrees and snow showers. And I was in shorts and a t-shirt, and I was comfortable. I mean, I could fish like that. I could run down the lake. Dion Hibden seen me one day fishing Mike Webb's deal, and it was like 42, 43 and light drizzle that morning. And I come down in shorts and t-shirt and got in the boat, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said that, and he said, "Well, you must not be running anywhere." And I said, "No, I'm heading to the dam." We was going out of Robbins Resort, and you can still ask him today. I tail grabbed his butt all the way to the dam, like 19 miles behind him, running mid 70s up there in shorts and t-shirt that morning. And then me and Gene that day, we was fishing one shorts and t-shirt, and it started snowing and stuff. Well, we come around the corner, and oh my God, these two guys are absolutely just bundled up like everything. And here I am in shorts and t-shirt. Well, they're looking at me like I'm an idiot. I'm looking at them, and I said, "I don't believe it's that cold, Gino." And Gene looked at me, and he said, "I don't believe it's that warm out neither, Randy."
Well, I wear shorts until I can't wear them anymore. But I'm not that darn tough. I promise.
Oh, I wasn't tough. And I used to. I mean, believe me, I could the OMTTs and stuff. I mean, I've fished in several 35 to 38 degree days in the shorts and t-shirt, and ran all the way all around the lake in shorts and t-shirt.
You remember 2 years ago when Lake of the Ozarks was froze up?
Yes.
Okay, and we had a Toyota series.
Yep.
And then there was a BFL like a week or two after that. I think they canceled the Toyota series, if I remember right. But or maybe they did have the Toyota series. No, actually, the Toyota series is the one that we fished.
That was
So we were coming over from the 26-mile marker. My buddy Greg owns a house there by Tantera in that area, and me and Mike Marfell were riding over, and his co-angler came and met us over there, and he was from Minnesota. He just drove down that night, 12-hour drive or whatever from Minnesota, and I think this was March. Okay, so he shows up. It's cold. It's 26 degrees in the morning. I mean, the ice was building up. The water temperature is like they're 33 degrees, 32, 33, and it would skim up. You'd get a quarter inch of ice. But that morning it was like 28 degrees, 26 degrees. And this kid shows up. He's got just a sun shirt on, just a sun hoodie on, flip-flops, and blue jeans. No, he had shorts on. And we ride over from 26-mile marker to PB2, single console boat. Mike's got a Z20.
Yep.
He's taking all that wind, and he never even flinched. I'm jackhammering. I mean, I got like 5-6 layers on. I got sock cap. I got a face mask, gloves. I'm kind of jackhammering, and he's just sitting there like he's Fabio with his hair in the wind, just flip-flops.
Yeah, but you got to realize he just had a 50-degree temperature swing. Like,
he's exactly right. It was like 0 up to where he,
yeah,
probably 0 or negative 10
below,
or something.
yeah.
But I was amazed, man. You talk about mind over matter.
So it's and we talk about this, and we're getting way off topic here. But in the summertime, if it hits 70 degrees in the morning, you'll see guys out there in hoodies.
It's a little nippy.
Now, you go in the winter, and you come off of a 20-degree day, and it hits 60 the next day, there's going to be guys out there in shorts and flip-flops, I promise you.
Yes.
Yep. It's what your body's acclimated to.
Yeah, it's that flip.
Yep. Bradley Michael. Yeah, you must be up north. You might know the guy.
Well, it's funny. So he makes that comment, so that tells us that he's up north. But you look down here, it says under 60. I'm wearing long johns.
Yeah.
So
the older you get, the less that blood circulates in your body. You get colder. We can't even hardly go to my grandma's house in the winter. It's like 84, 86 degrees in the house, and she'll sweat you out.
Yeah, she's probably got a sweater on.
She's got socks on, like wool socks on too. It's impressive. Let's see. What's your favorite way to fish? If you could fish one way, do you have a technique that you lean on more than others?
Flipping. If I could keep, and anyone that knows me, I love to do that. No more than 20-foot line out and keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love fishing that way, by any way, by shape, form. And when you was talking about colors earlier, sorry, my phone's going dead. And I'm funny on that. I thought I have a green pumpkin jig, and I keep probably 25 of them. And then it's a hematoma jig, and I throw a beaver style bait probably 65% of the time, and I have one color, hematoma. And I don't care what the watercolor is or clarity is.
What about a trailer? Do you use a beaver as a trailer on your jig too, or not?
That or a pocket chunk is what I'll use, yeah.
Okay.
Same color. And I think a lot of it is because typically 90% of the time when you're throwing a bait up to something, typically if there's a stick the size of a pencil, that's what they're going to be on. Or they're going to have shade above them, and the water is going to be darker where they're at. And that's just my thought process is, and that's it. And that's what I throw 90% of the time.
There's a lot to be said to that. I mean, you're fishing for the fish they're wanting to eat. You're not trying to convince one fish that this is the crawdad that's got 4 orange spots on its back and his left pincher has got a hue of blue. I mean, we as fishermen we get way too concerned with colors a lot of times. But I did the same thing. I'm not to your level yet, but my goal is to be there eventually. I've got down to like 5 colors of soft plastics that I have in my boat.
Yes, used to, if I caught a fish on a particular bait, I had to have, if they made 25 colors of it, I was going to have all 25 colors. And if they come out with number 26, I was going to have 26 in any way, shape, or form to have that color. And I've just downsized a lot. And I don't know if that, and I know it, probably at times it hurts me, but I like to power fish, and flipping by far is, and I like a jerkbait. Jerkbait would be a close second. I love jerkbait fishing.
What's your top 3 colors on a jerkbait?
Clown is number 1, and then table rock shad, and then
Likes the bright ones, obviously.
yeah, and my theory is on jerkbait fishing. I do it a lot like power fishing. Typically, if you pull up over a brush pile or a rocky point or something, I'm usually going to fish some kind of structure with a stick bait. And typically, I think that you usually catch your bigger fish on the first couple casts. And I think just that loud color is different. And that's my scenario with it. And they'll come up. And then the midnight, what is it? I call it school bus. It's a bright yellow with a black back and stuff on it. It's midnight something.
Twilight.
That's it.
Yeah, you talking about a mixed stick?
Yep. No, and that's the 3 main ones I'll throw.
So every one of those is bright, not a single natural color
right.
in there.
I throw a very natural color, not very often. It's usually something pretty loud.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't caught a fish on that PM Twilight. I haven't thrown it a lot. I like that Ghost Purple Magic a lot. That's one of my favorite colors. You sold me. Now that I think about it, when me and Mike were down there, you sold me 2 or 3 of those. That Ghost Purple Magic. That's right. And thank you, because I took that bait up to Mille Lacs, and I went through about 5 different colors of jerk baits, and I finally put on the Sproul Mix stick and the Ghost Magic Purple, and I had a heyday on that color. So anybody that's on here that goes up to the Mille Lacs area, you definitely want to take a Sproul Mix stick and that Ghost Purple Magic. I would buy like 5 of them, because you're going to lose 1 to a walleye, you're going to lose 1 to a muskie for sure, and you might break one off on a 5-pound smallmouth. But that color, something about that color up there.
In that area, I don't know why, but yes.
Magic.
What was the other bait that you needed? Oh, that's right, a Ned rig.
A Ned rig, yeah. That's all you need. You need a Ned rig, a drop shot, and a jerkbait when you go to Mille Lacs, or most of those lakes up north.
And it could probably be done with 1 route.
Yeah, it could. Definitely. Yeah, so thanks, man.
But no, I love to jerk fish and then flipping. And that's my 2 favorite techniques by far.
You ever ran into a Sasquatch? You got any good Sasquatch stories?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I made a video a while back. You probably didn't see it. It was on YouTube. So
I didn't see it. I'll watch it.
Yeah, you'll have to look it up. It's pretty good.
Is it on your Facebook page?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been a while back though. But yeah, actually, we made some of the RC Cola videos I actually done a video when we had some of the guys in the background, and they was had wigs on top of the fence is like 12 foot tall, and you can't see through it. And we had a Sasquatch music playing in the background, or like them talking. And I'd actually done a video on how I'd caught 2 of them on a modified A-rig down in Arkansas. And the reason we couldn't show their pictures is come to find out there is no pictures of them is because of their religious beliefs. They don't believe in having their pictures taken. So we honored that and didn't take pictures of them.
What? Well, yeah.
I got to go check that out for sure.
In today's climate, that you were the PC. You went the PC route. I appreciate that. Yeah, you throw an A-rig in that big nappy wig that they got on, you're going to snag them every time. So what's Sasquatch music?
Has anyone picked?
Yes. What? So what is Sasquatch music though? Is that just kind of eerie music, or what is it?
Yeah, Sasquatch music. That's well. It was Chewbacca who's playing in the background.
Okay.
That all in the back, and then we had they had wigs with mud and dirt and everything else in them on poles above this 12-foot fence, and you could just see the top of their heads, like they was back there, and then the fence would shake and stuff while I was talking about them. And then the A-rig was probably 4 foot long, rigged with chicken legs is what it was.
What's your YouTube channel? I didn't know you had a channel.
Oh no, it was actually through BoatWrX is what it was. We done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody goes to the BoatWrX YouTube channel, okay.
Yeah, there's a few on there.
I'll have to check that out.
had a lot of fun with that. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, we got a winner.
We do.
It's
been a minute since she's won too.
It's Stephanie. Congratulations. She's back in the saddle.
Good.
It's been a while. It's been about a year since she's won. I've got your contact information, Stephanie. So I'll send you some of the new Cumberland Pro stuff. I know you got some of the older stuff. I'll send you some fresh jigs.
It was pretty good too because it was the second guess of the night.
Yeah.
Good.
Crazy. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 minutes, and sometimes it's the first one.
So congratulations.
So what do you got coming up tournament wise? 47 tournaments coming up, or
yeah. Sunday I've got one at Stockton. I was going to actually come back and fish the Friday nighter at Stockton, but I don't think I've been gone so much. I was at the fair I usually get to work around 6 in the morning every morning. We don't open to 8, but I usually get quite a bit done before then. And then I've been averaging 14, 15-hour days for the last 3 weeks. So me and my wife and daughter and her boyfriend's going to go out to dinner Friday night when I get home. So, and then I'm going to fish Stockton Sunday, and then there's a pretty good chance I'll probably come back down here after that. And then I'll start going to Grand for the Nichols Championship tournament. Then Anglers in Action, and then my Polar Bear Series will come up. And then we're actually going to do a few tournaments down here too. I'm going to run down here in Alabama. So it'll be busy. It'll be about every weekend. Yeah, starting after this week, there'll be something going on every weekend, which there is every weekend. I don't think I missed. I think the only weekend I didn't fish this year was Mother's Day.
That's a smart one not to fish.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then, that's a good one. Definitely. My wife is great, and I love her to death. She just don't know how lucky she is to have me, but sometimes I have to remind her. Yeah. But no, she's a great lady. I have a great daughter, but been able to do what I do, and they definitely support me in it. So,
good deal. You go fishing on Mother's Day once.
Yeah, it'd be bad. Yeah, that'd be the end of Randy. He'd be done. Yeah.
Well, and for me, it's not so much the wife; it's mom.
Yeah,
your mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the one day that it's out.
Yeah, it's one of them things because Shannon's very good. I can look at her and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this." And she, okay, but then you get the one, okay, there's a difference, huh? Yeah, and then okay, that means no.
Yes, that's that inflection, that tonal inflection.
It's that old school where you don't get that on this.
You don't get that on text.
Yeah,
you get that in a voice.
Okay on a text sounds just the same.
Yeah.
Only thing you got to worry about there is your guilty conscience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Well, we've been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. I know you're busy man. You got a full schedule. I'm glad you're going to get out this weekend though. Get some on the water therapy.
Yes. And, like I said, it's thank you again for asking me on. Hopefully if anyone does want to check out the tackle shop or the boats or anything, or anyone, I do a lot of demo rides. So if anyone's want to schedule and they are considering buying a boat, we'll definitely meet you up and hook you up on that, and then try to help you out. We got a great tackle crew, and very fortunate. And we got a one-stop shopping place for any of your fishing needs, or boat getting wrapped, or decals made, or anything. So,
yeah, and look up everybody that's on here. Like Randy said, they have an online store. So next time you're shopping around for baits, go over to BaitWrX and have a look and see what they have to offer. And especially most of the people that are on here are in this area. You're going to get your product very quick. The shipping's really quick because it's pretty close. So they got competitive prices. They got a good selection, and it's growing. It's getting better and better. And I'd encourage you to go out there and check them out. And if you're in the market for a boat, definitely get a hold of Randy. Go down there to what's your hours down there?
We're 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then we're 9 to 4 on Saturdays.
Okay.
All that Lake of the Ozarks, Springfield, Missouri, and at Northport, Alabama now. And
that's the same for the BaitWrX too? The same hours pretty much?
Yeah.
That website is bait-works.com.
Yeah. It's bait-WRX.com.
Right.
And $50 on free shipping. So
Yes. No.
Yeah, and I put links in the description box too, so you can go check that out.
Yeah, because I hate the warehouse now. I mean, that's the bad thing about working in a tackle store. But you go through, well, yeah, I got to have this or I'll need that. But then now you go down there, and we got one of the bigger mega bass selections there is. And then I just said the 3 colors that I changed, yes, and I've still got 100 other colors. Then they'll come out with a new color. Then okay, well, I got to have that. And then you walk down to the warehouse now, and you're like, oh my God, I don't need to be coming down here.
You got a decent selection of glide baits too, don't you? Like some of the,
yeah.
That's one thing I noticed when I was in there.
Yeah, and then Brendan, he's won 2 big bass tournaments. I don't know how many fish he's had over 9 pounds on it. And that kid is just absolutely amazing. He actually works for us at BoatWrX. He's a really good rigger. He does a lot of our electronic installs for us. Does an excellent job on it. But that kid is absolutely amazing with that glide bait, that KGB bait in his hand. Is just stupid. And it's just, he's got so much confidence in it. To watch him fish it, you don't think he's doing anything different with it. But he just knows how the fish to react. Once they react to it, it's game on with him. I mean, he can slay them when they go to biting it. And he fished a lot of tournament, and he actually runs an 18-foot Avid with a 115 on it. And he fished a lot of big water with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to have confidence in that big glide bait. I haven't thrown it enough. I haven't given it a chance. I mean, I'll throw it for a couple hours and then I put it down, but
yeah. I don't know if Brock's still on there. He knows and he can witness. I threw it twice. I didn't catch anything on it and haven't threw one since then. So.
You picked your jig back up?
Yeah, picked the jig back up. I said, "I'm going to throw this." And I said, I threw it the first time and I said, I really didn't like it. Picked it up and threw it again. Yeah, this ain't going to work. And I put it back down and ain't threw one since then.
Well, I tell you what, I was just thinking about that. It'd be different if you went out there and the first day that you threw it, you went out there and caught, a couple 4s, a 5, a 7 on it, and you had the right day. That confidence just goes through the roof, and now you're hooked.
Yes, exactly.
And now you have $10,000 wrapped up in glide baits in one box.
Exactly.
So,
and you can swim a jig too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But it blows my mind though. That's probably the biggest. I mean, it just the swim baits is amazing. It amazes me the amount of people that buy them and the money that they cost and they still sell. There was a while back called us and the KGBs, and I think they're $225 a piece. And and I ain't even gonna mention his name, but he calls me and he said, and we don't hold them or anything. It's first come first serve. And he calls and he said he just purchased a boat from us, and he goes, "Hey Randy, that bait, can you hold me one of them?" And I said, "I don't think so. Hold on." And he said, "I'll be there first thing in the morning." He said, he goes, "I know you get there early." He said, "I'll be there at that time." But he said, "I'm coming back from Arkansas." And I go, "Hold on a second." Called and they said, "Yeah, we can hold him one." He said, "We've got several in. We just got them in." And or when he hung up, he said, and he goes, "Yeah, the one's for $100.50." And I was like, "No, they're not $100.50." And I didn't think nothing about it. Went over to talk to Drew. He said, if he'll be here first thing in the morning, I'll hold it for him. Okay. Well, anyway, I called him back and I said, "Hey," I said, I can hold that bait for you, but I said, "They're not $100.50. And he goes, "I know they're $225. My wife was in the car with me and I can't click on my debit card. I got to pay cash for it."
Well played, sir. Well played, sir.
Well played.
That's awesome.
Oh,
that's
Lord.
awesome. And she was probably yelling at him for spending $150.
Yeah, exactly. He said, "Well, that's why I can't. If I use the debit card, she's gonna know what I gave for it." So he goes, "Yeah," he said, "I'll be there in cash in the morning," and he was. So.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes when there's obstacles in the road, you got to work around. You got to work around them.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Well, good deal, man. We'll let you go, Randy. It was good hanging out with you, and best of luck in the future. And I'll try to stay in touch with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
All right.
Bye.
All right, man. Good stuff. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Definitely go down there.
Different though tonight. Like more on the boat side. I'm definitely gonna check out those Avid boats. That boat market is it's insane right now.
Yeah, and BoatWrX. If you guys are down in that Springfield area, definitely the Lake of the Ozarks too. Go by and check out that place. It's conveniently located off the interstate there, and they got a bait shop. The bait shop is really, really nice. It blew me away the amount of it's organized, and they got like Randy was saying, they've got a lot of good stuff. There's not filler stuff. There's not a lot of filler stuff. Some place you walk into and there's some filler stuff, and then there's some stuff that's good. But
well, you know, on
it's all good
tournament day,
stuff. You'll spend a lot of money. It's kind of dangerous, actually.
When there's like 5 pegs missing in the whole store and everything else is full, that's filler.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's really you gotta be careful if you're pulling a boat though. It's a little bit tricky, and I was gonna actually talk to him about that.
It's kind of tight parking lot.
It's kind of tight, man. You can get stuck, but it's well worth it.
And if you're in the market for a boat, I mean, knowledgeable, reputable dealership. So definitely check them out.
The tournament, maybe he's talking about the THM tournament we're talking about. I don't know. We have to do something. We were actually talking about that when we were fishing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to do something where I go out in the boat, you go out in the boat, and we fish a tournament. But
like a 1v1,
one-on-one. But I don't know. Somebody brought that up a while back about having like a meet and greet thing at a lake or something, where maybe we meet at someplace on Sunday.
Almost do like an overnight too. We could do like a Saturday, Sunday barbecue, Saturday afternoon, something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll throw some ideas out there. You guys think of some stuff, and Glass Horse Monty.
Yeah, that's what Mike always says when I fish out his nitro. It's Glass Horse Monty channel. I don't know, man. I always have a Timbo. It's just in the blood.
Hey, you know what? I've had it, and you still have your Ranger, but it's like when you go hook up, which one do you hook up to?
The tin boat.
Yeah, always had that option. And
yeah, well,
there's not enough lakes around here to justify hooking it up for that one lake. There's so many more lakes that I can go fish that are just as close. So
yeah, and it's well, in my situation, my tin boat is here at my house, and my glass boat is at my father-in-law. So it's a 15-minute drive out there. Then I have to transfer all my tackle, and then I got to do the thing in reverse order. Plus, there's the fuel mileage. It's just super convenient right here. But we're building a house, and I'm going to be living in the same location as my glass boat, which is why I kind of hold on to it. So I think I'll be fishing a little bit more out of that once I get out there. We'll see, but it's nice to fish these smaller lakes out of an aluminum.
See, I had them both sitting side by side,
and you still hooked up.
Always hooked up to the tin boat. That's why I got rid of mine. But I'm really looking at like a.
Justin caught a really nice fish. Sent me a picture earlier.
18, 19-foot boat for that smaller. There's enough small tournaments around here that we could fish, but you just want a little bit bigger platform so you can stay out there on the main lake all day.
Yeah, and getting from point A to point B is nice. It's nice to be able to go 50 versus 20.
Yeah. Or go 20 in rough water.
Yeah.
Versus going 20 in rough water in our little boat.
Right.
Because we become a bath toy at some point.
But you, like you said earlier, you cannot argue about a 3-gallon tank and getting 20 plus miles a gallon when you're pulling a boat versus 14. I get like 14. My truck, when I'm pulling my glass boat, I get 14. When I'm pulling my aluminum boat, it's 20.
And that's 14 in Southern Illinois where it's all flat.
It's flat and it's 55 miles an hour.
Not
so you're only
doing 70 up and down hills through the Ozarks.
Right.
So
there are some advantages.
For sure.
You're just going to get around the lake a little bit slower.
And the wear and tear on your truck. The whole deal.
Morning Dawn, throw it. Man, Morning Dawn's a good color.
It's an ugly color.
Pink worm. I don't know why it works. Can't argue with success, though.
For sure.
Man, thanks everybody for jumping on here. We saw some new faces in here, a bunch of regulars, and you guys are the reason that this thing keeps on going. We just keep continuing to get good guests. Got a bunch of other stuff lined up. Last week, we asked for suggestions on guests, and I think I wrote down like 20 something guests.
I got 10 on my side.
Yeah, so I'll start reaching out to some more people. Got a couple videos coming out this week. I think Wednesday, if I can get time to edit it, I'm gonna dump the video with me and him the other day on our little.
Though. Except for the adventures that happen.
No, it'll be
a great video.
That'll be the focus. It'll be a short video, but it's going to be exciting. Trust me. It's going to be exciting. And there's some other twists that happen that I won't even mention, but you'll see it on the video because I just about, not only did my boat get slimed, I just about lost $500 worth of merchandise. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. It looks pretty. I smelled it when I walk in. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's nasty. So that's all we got for you. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we will be here next week at the same time, same place. Have a great weekend.